Good morning, students. Hope you all are doing good. So, welcome to the new chapter of bar graphs in Matplotlib. Fine. So, here is a list of few. What is PyPlot? PyPlot is a module. Okay. And what is plot? Plot is a function of the module PyPlot. Okay. Now, all this I have made a small list of all these functions of pyplot module, which you have already done. Pyplot.plot is used. What we have used? plt.plot, right? So plt, when we had made plt an object of pyplot, remember what we used to write? Import matplotlib.pyplot dot pyplot as plt, right? So that as plt is what? So that we need not have to write this pyplot again and again. We had created an object plt. Okay, so we had written plt dot plot. So plot is used for what? It is used to plot points and line chart that we have already seen. Next is py. So py we have not done so far, so I have I'm not discussing this. Next is pyplot.bar. Okay, so pyplot.bar will be doing in this chapter. Okay, so if you see what you have done earlier, plt.plot, plt.scatter, that you have already done. I think yes, Sanjay sir's class. Now today we'll be doing plt.bar or pyplot.bar. It is used to plot bar chart or bar graphs. Okay, now rest of these things you have already done it so many times in your last class. X label is used to give values or tags or labels to x-axis. Y label is used to write anything or give a tag or write a value for y-axis. This we know. Fine. And what is title? Title is used to give a title of the graph. Okay, not necessarily bar graph. Title goes with all sort of graphs. Okay, whether you are plotting a line graph or a bar graph. Fine. Okay, and finally pyplot dot show. Okay, so pyplot dot show does what? It shows what? It displays the graph. Okay, even if you have created one using all these this thing methods and functions, but if you do not write pyplot.show, nothing will be shown. Okay. Okay, so now let us go to why this bar graphs. Okay, we see we have got so many types of graphs. Okay, and remember all these graphs are used in different areas. It all depends upon the type of data that we want to represent, that we want to show. Getting me? So if we try to make any comparison sort of thing, so and if we want to show any trend, then we show line graph. Okay, and if we want to very clearly, if we have individual items and I want to compare the difference between one item to other, then I'll be using bar graph. You see, there's an example here given. Okay, and bar chart can also show big changes that I've already told you. Okay, so it all depends upon the use and the requirement. How do you want that data to be visualized? Okay, so everything, this matplotlib and the entire library comes under what? Data visualization. Okay, so how do you want to visualize the data? It all depends upon that, and we have got different graphs for different purposes. Okay, now let us see how does a bar graph look like. Fine. You see here bar chart pie plot dot bar. If you see here pie plot dot bar, when we were drawing a line graph, we had written pie plot dot plot here. Fine. Now, in order to draw or in order to depict or in order to display a bar graph, we'll have to write pie plot dot bar or plt dot bar. Fine. Now, let us understand this. What elements do we have in a bar graph? Okay. Let us start with, you see all the graphs, they have two axes. One is x-axis and another one is y-axis. Okay. So, if you follow my cursor, this entire thing is the values that are written over here, they fall under x-axis. This is your x-axis. Fine. And this one where I have written expenses in rupees, this is your y-axis. So these two things are very mandatory. I mean, whenever if you want to plot any graph, you'll have to give x-axis and y-axis. Where do we give that? Inside this बार वाला जो फंक्शन है ना, वी राइट इनसाइड टू वैल्यूज. सपोज आई एम यूजिंग x for x-axis and y for y-axis, so I write plt dot bar x comma y. Okay, chalo that we'll see later. Okay, and these are what? This is y-axis, these are x-axis. Now remember, this y-axis value, you need not have to give these values. Okay, depending upon the frequency of the bars. Okay, depending upon the frequency of the bars, it automatically takes the lower limit and the upper limit and divide the entire graphs in equal frequencies. Okay, so if the value here is 5000 or 4900 something, so the least value that it has taken is 2500, and the most value, the highest value is around 17,500. Right? So it all depends upon the value by which these bars are being displayed. Clear? So x-axis value, we'll come to that later. Just don't be panicky about things. Okay, now what here, if you see what is written, heads. Okay, so all these transport, food, entertainment, rent comes under heads. So this head is what? It is label, x label. If you go there, you see, yeah, x label. Fine. Pie plot dot x label. Fine. And pie plot dot y label is what? Y label is expenses in rupees. Clear? Okay. This one is your title. Okay, title, from where does title come from? You see, pie plot dot title. Fine. Pie plot dot title. Okay, let us go here again. This is because of the title. There are so many other things. There are grids also. Okay, there are legends also that we all will be discussing, but these are very common elements by which we make a graph. Okay, now suppose I show you this screen. Outing expense, transport, there's food, there's this. So it conveys some sense, but it does not give me an instant idea of what it is like. Fine. So if I am spending my, if I am jotting down my outing expenses, suppose I have gone out somewhere. So on transport I have spent 12,000, on food I have spent 5,000, entertainment 13,800, rent 18,000. Okay, so these are what? These are the data that I have. Okay, and I want to display transport, food, entertainment, rent, all these heads in x-axis and the value in y-axis. Clear? Clear? Now for doing that, you know that we can create a list of values using a list. So heads is what? Heads is I have created a list. Okay, and there I have made transport, food, entertainment and rent. what element of these, the or element of the list head. Fine. And expenses, and I have created another list and kept all the expenses. Fine. For transport 1200, for food 5000, entertainment 1300, rent 1000, 18,000. Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. Fine. So up till now we have seen, I've given you this thing, an idea. Now let us come down to code. Remember, we are not coding anything in Jupyter right now. Fine, I'll be explaining you entire code here, and then we'll be going on to Jupyter to actually printing or displaying the graphs. Okay, so first line you all know from Matplotlib. Okay, you see this line from matplotlib import pyplot as plt. This is one way, but what do? We write import matplotlib dot pyplot as plt, right? That is another way. Heads is equal to transport, food, entertainment, rent. We have already discussed this. These are the heads. Okay, you see heads here: transport, food, entertainment, and rent. And then expenses. I told you this expenses will be depicted or displayed over here. Okay, so 5,000 is the lowest amount. So what it has done, 2,500 it has taken the least amount, because since it falls between this. Fine, it cannot start with 5,000, and this bar will be too short. Okay, and then plt dot bar. Okay, plt dot bar. Fine. Earlier we were using plt dot plot. Okay, and first value heads. You see heads. So the first value is x value. The first value is x value. The value that are to be displayed on the x axis. Remember, follow my cursor. Okay, so values that I want to display here on x axis. Fine. Second is expenses. The value, the bars that shows the values. You see all these bars. This is 5,000 wala bar. This is 1,200 wala bar. Fine. Okay. And finally plt dot show. So when the moment I give plt dot show, this graph is displayed like this. Clear? Eh? Okay. Now let us come down. Fine. So I'll be one after another, I'll be taking this thing. So we can also use color attributes. Okay. Now by default, all the color of all the bars are blue. Okay. So data visualization is all about what? It is all about presenting the data in a very decent manner, a manner which attracts everyone. Okay, so if I add colors to it, it will look good. So I have done this. Okay, everything else is fine. Import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Heads is equal to transport food. This we have already seen. Plt.bar heads expense. And what I have used, I have used a third. This is first attribute, second attribute, and a third attribute, which is color. So color is equal to RGYB. Now you see, R red goes for what? Goes for transport. Green goes for food. Yellow goes for entertainment, and blue goes for rent. Fine. Okay. So if I want to have all the bars in red color or green color, then simply I'll give color is equal to G. Only one color. Clear? Any doubt? So this is how we use color attribute. You see, in all the slides, the other things, it will remain the same, because I am not changing x value, x axis and y axis. The only thing that I will be changing is either this one, the attributes of bar, or I'll be using little one or two more. functions. Let us see this. Okay, now if you see this, everything else is same. What is being added? The X label and the Y label is added. Okay, so X label is added on the X axis and Y label is added on the Y axis. Fine. And if you see the highlighted this thing, the highlighted part, plt.x label. So plt.x label does what? Inside this mark, inside the parenthesis, I have written heads, right? So heads is displayed where? You see here on the x-axis. Fine. And plt.y label, expenses in rupees, so expenses in rupees is displayed here. Clear? Okay. And plt.title is equal to outing expenses. You see here, they have used a title also, outing expenses. Okay, so it is for me it is mandatory to use a title. Why? Because this title is about what? It is very difficult to understand. Although you can make out looking at x-axis and y-axis, but it is still better to have outing title. And then finally plt dot show. Clear? Okay, let us see this. Okay, fine. This is a very good example. Now, up till now, in here plt.bar, we have used what? We had used a variable, okay, a list uh, which consists of what? Which consists of alphanumeric values. Fine. Now here I have taken 45, 50, 55 and 60. This is a numeric kind of list. Remember, whenever you are using a numeric kind of list or a numpy an array for that matter, plt.bar, the x on the x-axis, you'll have to write that. The first thing you'll have to write there. Okay. Okay, now you see here WT is what? WT is your list. Fine. And as a result, you see here 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, all these values are displayed over here. Okay, and second value is frequency. Frequency is simple frequency, that is we have already done earlier, right? And color again GBRY, the order can be anything, and rest everything else is fine. You have already seen this. Fine. So instead of alphanumeric list type here, a list that has strings, a collection of strings, we can also have number. But there's a problem here, and we need to use other functions, xticks and all, in order to label them properly. Okay, that we'll see later, but for your reference, we can use a list name for the x-axis which has got numeric values. Okay. Now see here, this is very interesting. This is a graph which is showing two data values. Okay, so up till now what we have done, we have taken only one data value. Right? We had taken transport and then expenses. Okay, heads and expenses. Right? So this is another example where the first list is the name of the students. Okay, and the second list is the number they have got, or maybe let us see the values here, how they have used blue, green, marks and attendance. Fine. Okay, so this one is marks, and 23, 18, 25, 20, 26 is the attendance. Okay, so two values that they have taken. PLT dot bar x comma y comma color is equal to blue. Okay, so what do we want? We want to plot a bar of the value x axis में क्या होना है? अंकित, पायल, चारू, राहुल और रिया. और y axis में क्या होना है? 67, 23, 90, 56 and 78. Okay, and the color should be blue. You see this blue, fine. PLT dot bar x comma z. X axis will be the same, no? Ankita, Payal, Charu, Rahul. For Ankita, Payal, Charu, Rahul and Riya, I am plotting a graph which will show their marks as well as attendance, right? So x axis is the same, name of the students, then comma y. I have taken this highlighted one, 23, 18, 25. These are the attendance of the student for the month. Fine. ये हो गया. So x comma z, color is equal to green, and I have given color as green. So you can directly write this. In the earlier slide, we had mentioned color is equal to B, G, R, right? So you can use the abbreviations also, and you can write the full color name also. Okay, the other coding schemes also that we'll be discussing later, or when you were studying plot line bar, then I think Sanjay sir had discussed about those color schemes, codings. Okay, then PLT dot title student performance. You see, title is here, student performance. PLT dot X label names, PLT dot Y label marks. Okay, X label names, PLT dot Y label marks. Fine. X label names and Y label marks. Okay, one more thing, PLT dot grid false. Okay, now when we write PLT dot grid false, what is a grid? You know, your entire this graph plotted area, it will be separated with boxes, rows and columns. Okay, so if it is true, PLT dot grid is equal to true. By default, it is false only. If you want to have grid, you'll have to write PLT dot grid is equal to true. Okay, so I think you will not find this grid always. In most of the cases, you will not find it. But you must know this PLT dot grid false will enable or disable the grades, and PLT dot grid true is it will display the grades. Okay, and what else? False is what? False is the default value. Okay, false is the default value. Fine. Okay, one thing you must have seen that there is something here which I have not made a mention of. Okay, these two things. Fine. I hope this other things, import matplotlib or pyplot as PLT, this is a common statement. Fine. Okay, now come here. You see, in this presentation we will be discussing about this. Okay, this is called legend. Fine, legend. I think you'll have already done legends in line graph. Let us see it again. Other data, they are the same: Ankit, Payal, Charu, Rahul, Riya. Okay, and 23, 18, 25, 20, 16. This is fine. Okay, PLT bar. Okay, fine. Align is equal to center. So the entire graph will be aligned in the center. Fine. And you see here, label is equal to marks. Now this is because of the label, this label is getting displayed. So what is this label? Label is first the marks. So marks will be shown with which color? Blue color. Right? And attendance will be shown with which color? Green color. Is this clear? Okay. So it is, abhi yahan par it is showing that which bar is showing what. Fine. Okay. So these two things, label and mark here. Now whenever we are using label and marks, here you'll have to write PLT dot legend. Okay. Both goes hand to hand. I mean, for using legend, you'll have to define labels, okay? And if you have defined labels and if you have not used legend, then nothing will be displayed. And finally, plt dot show. Fine. So I think this I have up till now I have covered all the mandatory things. In the next this thing lesson, we'll be taking it further. Okay, how to create group this thing and all.